Okay, I don't... Again, this is just another bit of me sort of guessing where the episodes start and end. I know that... Well, I don't know anything, but the chunk of Dark Disciple I just read felt like a major story unto itself, to a point where I felt like I probably should talk about this part separately, especially before we get into whatever happens next. So this part of the story I'm going to deals with the return to Dathomir and Ventress's efforts to train Quinlan Vaz. First off, let me just say that this chunk of the story started out tragic. I mean, we have the Ventress and Vaz save this Pike family, then the Black Suns come and just destroy it, and it just sort of it's this hard punch in the gut of how reality kind of sucks. And we also, shortly after, Vaz reveals to Ventress that he's a Jedi, and I like how we get this reveal sooner than later. I was wondering, like, if we were going to stretch it out, and I like how Ventress, I like how that's not the I like how Vaz keeping a secret from Ventress isn't what the episode's about. It's more about the relationship, and this book is really uncomfortable to read, let me just say it. Just seeing Vaz fall to the dark side is very tragic, uncomfortable, and well done. I mean, Vaz is already established, very similar to Ventress. He's this in-between character. While I think Vaz is good, it's like he's using the dark side as a means to an end, in a sense. It's similar to Anakin. Like, he has good intentions, but he's not going about it the right way. And yeah, like, this whole misleading thing just screams Anakin. It's deception. And the whole time while Ventress is training Vaz on Dagobah, I was constantly reminded of the Dagobah sequence from Empire Strikes Back. Like, even down to the idea that the temple's sort of this tree. We had this one point where it's like, where it seems like Vaz might abandon his training to go face the threat early. I mean, there's the sleeper beast, and it's like Ventress, like, you can't face Dooku until you face the sleeper. We can't skip through this. But yeah, it's interesting. And you also have the temple, this Night Sister temple, sort of serving as the tree. And it was a really interesting use of Dathomir. Like, even more so than the one we had in the Darth Maul arc. Because, again, I think Ventress has a bit more of a personal tie to Dathomir, which we see in this where Ventress just recaps what has happened to her so far, which I thought, okay, on one end this is a bit redundant. I mean, most of us know, but on the other end, like, there are some people out there who, for some reason, are reading this and they haven't seen Clone Wars. There are people here who may have forgotten, and also Vaz doesn't know. And also, it's sort of I'm surprised there wasn't more of Ventress just coming to terms with what happened on Dathomir. I mean, we got a bit of it, but it seemed to be more about Vaz. And this is also where we get the developments of the Ventress-Vaz romance, which I like, which I thought was interesting. I think Ventress is sort of, like, I like how Ventress is using it. She's attractive, but she's also using it to tempt out his darker feelings. Like, there's this sort of forbidden fruit angle going, kind of like, again, like, so much of this is like Anakin's fault of the dark side, except done well, because I think what's done well is that Vaz, we see him constantly questioning what's happening, or telling him, like, to himself, like, I need to do this. This is the means to an end. And the sad thing is that Vaz is kind of right. Like, this might be the only way to bring down Dooku. I mean, in Return of the Jedi, we sort of get this, you have to kill Darth Vader, is there another way, and you bring him back. But, I mean, in the end, like, Dooku's beaten by Anakin, but only because Anakin embraced the dark side. So in a sense, the Jedi were right that this is the only way to bring down Dooku. So yeah, training over again, and part of me wishes this was anime because some of these training sequences are probably visually stunning. From Vaz and Ventress running around, doing runs around Dathomir, runs in the temple. The whole sleeper bit I thought was really well done. It very much represented Vaz's struggle to embrace the dark side. Like even his hesitation to kill, like I liked it. Like Vaz's sort of like, I don't need. Again, it's not an evil creature. I don't need to kill it other than to show force, which he doesn't want to. But again, he sees this as a means to an end. And again, this is another case where I kind of wish that we got to see what the animation looked like, because I'm really curious what the sleeper looked like. I'm sure it was a very cool, visually stunning sequence. I'm trying to think what else. Ventress seems to be going back to the dark side. Like, it seemed very much like they were redeeming her, and then there were a few things that Ventress is doing that sort of, like, are bringing her back to that point where it's, okay, she seems kind of evil, like her manipulating Vaz and using him. Like, we always seemed to be slightly it always seemed like they were slightly edging Ventress towards redemption and like her becoming good. There's still like half a novel left, so anything could happen for all I know. Maybe she'll realize, what have I done? What have I created? Because it very much seems like they're pushing Vaz more and more towards the dark side, which I think is real. It's really interesting. And there's episode titles coming out calling Saving Vaz, and I wonder if it means like saving him. First I thought it was he gets captured, but now it seems more like it's about saving him mentally. Which could be interesting. But yeah, like, there's... I really don't know where we're going with this. I mean, I know, obviously, that when Ventress and Vaz head to the gathering or whatever to kill Dooku, like, they're not going to succeed. I mean, we know they fail, but as far as, like, where these characters go, I have no idea, which... Again, I think this is a brilliant thing. It's not so much about Dooku killing Dooku as it is about the relationship and the development of these characters. I think that's a really smart way to do it. And man, is this getting dark. Like, I mean, from how sensual Ventress and Vaz are getting with each other to just seeing Vaz. Like, this is like Breaking Bad uncomfortable when Walter would just do something very unpleasant. Like, that's the sensation I get when reading this. But yeah, like, all this so far is really well done. And going forward, I'm really curious what's going to happen, because I obviously know they're not going to succeed in killing Dooku, but I'm curious what's going to come out of this. How will Ventress and Vaz grow or not grow from trying to kill Dooku at this separatist gathering? So that's all I have to say. I really don't have that much to say, but I felt like this was a part of the story that worked well enough on its own that I could talk about it. And that's all I have to say. So, what did you think of this part of the story? Comment below, let me know. Like, dislike, comment, subscribe, and this is JStar60, and I'll see you guys there. Until next time, may the Force be with you.